Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am Robin Phoenix, and today we're gonna continue some more of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Alright, let's do this. I did a little research. I looked into those special cyclops you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. A red cyclops protects a secret a person is consistently trying to hide. If a person falls under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. The black cyclops protects a secret from the deepest place in the person's heart. A secret that the person isn't even consistently aware of. So even if they don't know it's there, Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are still off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the cyclops. According to my research, a black cyclops is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they ripped out by force, it could cause permanent damage to the person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Pearls, can you stay by Athena's side? She must have been suffering from the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright. But will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I haven't been able to give this trial all the focus and strength. You can't do that if I'm there. Just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I could relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who could do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good. Now that my mind's on ease, I better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, the ruins is my battleground.
Court, or some facilitable thereof, is now a section for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Not a facimo, man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously and start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you.
Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes.
This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you just say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I said to His Honor? However, this ridiculous farce is a very important meaning to our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered the obvious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind the case today... Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth.
I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged of the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Wright. The situation is what it is and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes of the court of murder in the first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
There's immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone when I barely believe it myself. I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy.
No, then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth.
No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I am here as a civil prosecutor.
Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known to give the press an opening statement myself.
In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement.
Of course, you're right. I was just joking, just having a little fun.
But he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting.
Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed at the robotics lab on the 4th floor.
His mother.
Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor at the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed.
Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness.
Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedures of these things, you know.
Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all.
Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can be good for your back. Oh, you are very kind to show concern for the welfare of the elderly.
Skillful as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see.
Prosecution called his first witness.
A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 years. New testimony? And who is this witness anyways?
Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust.
What are you doing here?
I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She's just too busy with the confining and threatening the hostages and all.
That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonso. I'm nothing more than an observer of this. Do your best. I'm watching you.
Believing her brother's innocence, Miss Blackwell has conducted her own investigation. And though her current answers are highly unlawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's note of investigation she conducted, and I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was the scene of the crime when they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really has all to steal the moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's how Miss Blackwell's theory, it totally goes to the face of the official rolling, huh? About the case she mentions, there are other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment.
I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes.
At the last trial, they thought the prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And the camera captures footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case.
I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to the quick end. Very convincing, that's for sure.
That case, by the way, was later discovered outside of the Space Center grounds.
Picking up after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found?
She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center at the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown when Miss Sykes were at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to get proper testimony, and there were no witnesses or evidence to tell us where she might have been.
So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi?
That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is accused's mother. Are you actually claiming the 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotion. You're aware of Dina Sykes' special ability, are you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court.
The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research.
Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it.
I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, he forced her daughter to undergo his experiments.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting...
I've done my best to deliberate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer be able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt the only choice was to kill her own mother.
Ah! Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. We must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Mr. DeFore, please refer to the notes.
But there's nothing more than conjecture. It's hardly the only possibility.
In that case, what do you think the Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case?
I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases of the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It would have made sense to use the largest case there, just to move that rock.
Objection!
But be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Now let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory than what was in the case?
Well, Mr. Wright, can you?
Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try my bluffing ways that could have been in that case? Yes, we should bluff. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
Ooh, I'll be very interested in hearing your theory, if it's true, that is.
This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with the photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
Alright then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory.
What did Prosecutor take from the scene of the crime?
Take that!
Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the card of this photo. However, in this photo I've taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken in the scene of the crime.
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. It's just a piece of junk. How important could it be?
Is it really that significant robot part? Speaking of which... Well, what are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance. Per eyeball. Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be the arm of that robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it?
But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just one arm that was there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe. I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, if the defense assertion that it was the other robot that was in the case.
What?
Objection!
We can't be certain that part belonged to the robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it's the robot arm. I can't even tell which robot it belongs to just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
Well, Mr. Wright, I thought you were more than a technology illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belongs to.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Punko. But take a look at Punko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought the machines heal the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandkid.
The robot arm in the crime scene had the same bandaging wrap around it. In other words, the robot arm this one could be none other than Punko.
Order to court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this?
You can see that the robot is about the same size as a child. And I cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it's the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't possibly fit in there.
The case does come up about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that.
They got me there. The prosecutor Blackwell made Punko pin the case by dispensing. Of course, Punko confessed. All prosecutor Blackwell has to do is dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot can easily fit inside the rolling case. It appears to be a robot assembly device. Dismantle anything in the flesh. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There could have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if there wasn't none on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana would have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. These joints are made of very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm of this photo proves that Punko was taken apart. In addition, the rest of Punko was not found at the scene. We can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean...
That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is indeed a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you may see there is the arm cutout was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely the rest of Punko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, we can transfer inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Mixed size never was at the scene of the crime of the murder. Ah! My head! My head! My body! Where am I? Ah!
Order! Order in the court!
It's true that Punko was found in pieces after the murder. But I admit I repaired her myself afterwards. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I got at least one step closer. Proving that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell's innocent.
Objection!
Well played, Mr. Wright. You made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when you place things this straight.
Does the prosecution always claim the defendant was carried at the scene?
No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Punko and Miss Size could have both been inside the case.
Objection!
A notion of the case was used to carry Miss Sykes into Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been in a different opinion of the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth, he's been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene?
Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body. So, as he is holding something, or someone.
That's hardly evidence.
I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was from in front of it, and the stain has been highly distinctive shape.
Bloodstain? With a distinctive shape? Please continue, Mr. Edgeworth.
7 years ago, the defendant was known as constantly wearing a certain item, of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones just made for her. She always wore those big heavy headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Analyzing shows that the bloodstain is the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, there is no mere blood splatter. The blood went to the victim's body, to the headphone, and then was imprinted into Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp.
The most gruesome stamp indeed.
Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who has been hit by the splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
Order! If the defendant is indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we also know the robot's there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making a ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time?
No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case.
But as it turns out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand.
A robot witness? Order! Order in the court! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this?
Mr. Wright has called all the men of the witness to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprised me anymore with him.
Very well, I would allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko.
Witness, state your name. Please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness. My name is Paco.
Yes, I realize that, but when you are a witness, then you are the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm Punko. Say it with me. Punko.
What an utterly inflexible little robot.
You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible.
Huh, you remind me of my grandchildren who just learned his name. Oh, how precious.
Alright, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Miss Meta Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there at the robotics lab.
It seems this robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all. This is great! I just knew Ponko had seen something important.
A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable.
The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild.
So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today?
I went to the robots lab around 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. That's when I thought charged up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Cetis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred and there was no data after this point.
Well, it sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder.
I disagree. His testimony showed that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What?
At the end of the day, we must not forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capability to express itself is limited. So what are you suggesting?
The witness statements need to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child.
They don't, but...
Yes, what this witness statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes saw Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly. But I don't know what they said. Athena's usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. You can interpret that as they argued.
I see, murder after heated argument.
And then the victim fell down. I agree it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
When I am recharging, I go to sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well admit defeat now, Wright. A cross-examination will be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never will want to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful my any cross-examination will be.
Hold it!
I don't want to dilute too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at the moment? Mommy Menace was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found at the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detected the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means if Dr. Seuss really did die at this moment. Panko, how was Dr. Seuss when she fell down? Can you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging out just then. All the unlucky timing. If you had heard anything after that, it would have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot was designed to go to sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear to detect an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Menace started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. There was a round window on the workbench side of the room. The workbench, huh? Uncle must have been talking about that table to the right where the giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Punko's statement just now? Your Honor, I believe the statement is critical. I'd like to add it to the testimony. Very well. Punko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Mommy Menace fell down near the round window in the workbench side of the room.
Objection!
Punko, your statement just now inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell down near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But in the operating chamber and workbench are two different locations. Exactly, Your Honor. We just learned this new critical fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The 11-year-old girl could not have moved the heavy body up in the adult. And the explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Punko deserved near the workbench could have been the possibility of the moment of the murder. Whew, I am very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Punko here. Yes, as we just heard in testimony that Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years and you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? If the defendant could have moved the body herself, she could have moved for her. move for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there.
I agree. And since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would be aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there.
We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present.
Then who do you suggest moved the body?
Don't you know it's the nature of the robot that helps people do things? Miss Panko, allow me to ask you a question.
My name is Punko. Say it with me. Punko.
I believe you just said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. You happen to move something large out on the operating table?
Yes I did. Athena asked me to.
Dina asked you to?
Then what did you move, little Punko?
I don't know. Unless somebody has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We roll one scanner to tell us what the thing is.
That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognitions people by scanning their spacesuits or uniform jacket ID tag, it said.
So it would appear that Miss Panko here didn't identify what was moved.
My name is Punko.
But we humans have the power to mention what it was, do we not?
We do?
Well, I do at the very least. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command, move the body on the operating table.
Yeah!
Panko, did you really move Athena's body? Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Is there any way you could tell?
I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart has stopped, the robot detection system will be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. We kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over the chair in the robotics lab, and only worn in special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Panko's equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. If she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
The face is clearly be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for the matter. But their facial features inside the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she had removed the sword and was stained in blood. Oh boy.
Order! But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body into the operating table in the first place?
You want a reason? Very well.
What?
You can't possibly have a explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You should learn a thing about a row of friends. Common rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, right, Mr. Wright? Now then, do you remember the operating table one special feature?
I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there, is that right?
That's right. For the defendant, who was just a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. But in the end, my mom just put her in the operating table and fixed her up in a flash. I was so impressed with what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting this young sheltered girl has a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Punko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who would bandage it up like that.
She must have thought the machines heal the same way people do. What adorable naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and crucial mistake. She thought that if the robots could be dismantled and banished without a trace.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as deliberately as you can.
With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word. Just stop.
Was to dismember the evidence so that she could get away with her crime.
That can't be true.
Order! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say!
Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such horrible thing?
Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a natural consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But this family isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her.
I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it.
But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way.
What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses.
Perhaps she didn't want to make it appear that it had never happened.
And that's why she tried to repair her mother.
Yes, that's one possible explanation.
But if we haven't forgotten the facts of this case, the victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts of delivering the defendant's guilt, remains unchanged.
This just can't be true.
Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim?
Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I learned that the truth isn't always pretty.
Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-arguments, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough. But, there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing.
Prosecutor Blackwell? This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell? What are you talking about? What am I talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise.
Go on, we're listening. Could this be a miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here?
7 years. For 7 years, no, 7 long years, this case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your baldness, I will take the stand, and I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes, but when I got to the robots lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return, and then I committed the act. Ah, how cartastic it was. The little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words,
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would that be? She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child falling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either. Of course. Meaning she had just left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony? You should hardly take stock in her words of the win-up toy.
Objection!
And how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Tina was always tinkering with robots in the operating theater to amuse herself. She always had Ponka move the heavy ones for her. But today was no different. Ponka moved the heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems so makes sense, but yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize that we could bring the Dark Age of the Law to the close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go and I can settle down into hell? Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right. Let me hear your verdict. If you don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the 6.
Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her?
Miss Blackwell? Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. If you agree to this trial, if you have a counter-argument, please present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish. Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict.
Is this really happening? Is this really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out here and go save him.
No, I can't tell her.
But how can I lie to Athena?
I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial. I don't think Athena will ever forgive me.
I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Athena, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear a voice in his heart. He's hiding something.
If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might just be the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes don't know. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know?
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember? That horrible, horrible trial. Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in the courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I went around the door even now.
And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer.
Thanks. That's because one day, I didn't realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it could mean? You are the accused after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocent, then...
The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. Chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth.
She has been so brave conducting her past like this.
This might be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify once more about the incident 7 years ago. Fine. But your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not the man who will be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voices of your heart.
Got it!
This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. But when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Just now you said you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was to look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Gah! The second I found an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now. I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We just have to keep chipping away at him bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss.
Got it!
Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you say that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had laid to way to kill her to be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. Gah! Can't be talking about that, can he? That was just a convenient subject for her research. Dr. Sykes was so intent on the research she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from the obsessed scientists who treat her own daughter like a research subject. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I usually found Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying at the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subject to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Inconveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was really when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. It went up? I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Black was lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world will I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for inconsistency in his motions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me from this change already.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradicting evidence or inconsistent emotions? What should I tackle first? We'll do his emotions. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. If you're trying to look for inconsistent statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over.
Got it!
How odd. Why are you Richard so surprised to open the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Punko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well my plan to rescue Athena. But she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Punko do it? That's right. She ordered Punko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Punko up with the katana that was there on the lab. That wrinkly old puppet wasn't worthy of the fine blade. Mr. Wright! It's happening again! There's even more noise now! Is at 100% now? What's going on here? Whenever he finds an opening, he covers it with more lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. Pretty hard to tell, keep telling incoherent lies like that. His mind and will really are sharp or strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle this time? I think there might be a inconsistency about Scared Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then.
Objection!
Compromising lies with moral lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it? How many more times must I see that witch damn me for my sins? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the bloodstain at the end of Punko's arm when it was severed with a katana? I hope you weren't claiming it was the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it? So then it must have been the victim's blood? That's right, but in that case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Punko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Punko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be... Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Punko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing more than one giant ball of lies. Ugh! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now! You have no idea what you're doing. His voice? There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rambling emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day was really calling these feelings.
Got it!
When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed with your emotions. Isn't that right, Prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono? I gave you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright!
It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said, "Oh boy, something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her." That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth that you are so desperately wanted. No! Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart? I... No! So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother? Athena! As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, assembly on the operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersion on my mentor claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart. She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free from your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Don't you remember those headphones you hated so much?
Yes. My head hurts every time I wear them.
No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices from people around you. Your power is much stronger then than it is now, and those headphones are what enabled you to carry on with everyday life.
No, that can't be true. Then why? Why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened has to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. But you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Punko was the witness, so I put in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Punko away in the boarding lounge trash chute. Then I hid the case in the Space Center grounds.
It would seem that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet. You can't handle it like this.
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed.
Or are you the type of man to turn your back on things that disagree with you?
I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is, prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright? Yes, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. You have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In eye of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes an opportunity to confess? Very well. Then, if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes.
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared and the Dark Age of Law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no questioning I remember. I remember the weight of my weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing it deep. I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say these are the whole memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright?
But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember her now. Any kind of argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you forgot one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not the murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never changed, but could you have actually regressed in those 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionism with getting in the way of truth.
Emotionism? Don't lecture me on matters of heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Did a little research. Look into those special cyclops you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even to herself.
There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about it yet. You might be looking at a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. I hope the right won't say that you're not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. No, then there's not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession.
My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing it deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle into my fingers.
There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell.
If there's a problem with her confession, please prove it to the court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright?
I respectfully and virtually disagree, Your Honor.
But I remember it. I remember holding a weapon and getting blood on my fingers.
That's exactly my point. If blood really did get in your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood in sight. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts.
You're right.
Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must simply confuse a portion of her memories. She mentioned it as hazy to begin with, and she must have mulled over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact that we can't ignore.
In that case, why don't you explain this consistent with her memories mean?
Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone. But she says to herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could a contradiction with Athena's memories mean? Miss X said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle was spotless. So, does it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon of other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Miss Dr. Sykes' life was the katana, that much is sure. But I can show the possibility that Athena didn't use the katana. It could help her prove her innocence.
A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly?
Right, of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again as always? How did you do that? I can't back down, not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it is so obvious it doesn't require any thought.
What did you just say?
Okay, so maybe there was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon at the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high possibility that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in the evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another bladed that's been in the crime scene.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon of the Clay Terran case.
Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing Unity knives like this are one issue of the Space Center employees. And the robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. There was an investigations report if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that, once you told me just now. Then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's the photo of its contents.
Right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool.
Fine. But is there something odd about the design of the handles?
Therefore, there are no other bladed weapons in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. The toolkit contained a knife.
And what proof do you have of that?
Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. No, you're simply watching out for your articular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Notice that the handles of each of these tools have some sort of design on them?
Oh, I see that they do. But what significance does that have?
It's clear that one of these tools is missing from the kit. If we arrange the tools from this specific pattern, we might be able to tell which of the part of the overall design is missing. Is there a theory for your pitiful excuse that aesthetics help you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man.
Show the court then if you would.
What pattern designer would see it fit to rearrange the tools?
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to represent?
The Gyatso logo, Your Honor. It's on the Space Standards document and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gyatso is a program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look how brightly the Gyatso logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really do think the stars and rocket motif to get going. Gyatso, huh? Is that a new name for a federal space R&D program?
Oh, I think I see it now. What?
Yes, but just the tool shown in the photo. The red A of the part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes to play. If we were to place the utility knife at the open slot, it would complete the Gyatso logo.
So it would.
Then that means...
A minute, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours, and while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes uses could have been this one. Oh!
Order in the court.
Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers could have been that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real murder weapon that took the victim's life was a utility knife? Don't be ridiculous, are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely observing the hypothetical situation diverted by your logic. Miss X could have put blood on the katana and make it look like the murder weapon, and then conceal the knife in her purse until Blackwell carried it away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then Faye has dead to a cool hand. So you have proven the knife's existence for the rest of us with your logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is tempted to leave the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to leave the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there's only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalling stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or the utility knife, as long as we know the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. And the contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. But the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix, right? When will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Nah. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. What if... Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in a doubt? Can't look back. Forward's the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right? I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I always believe in her. To the end. The defense lawyer never gets up on his clients. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. I don't see a way, I just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. I can see the fact that Athena made it stab someone with the utility knife. This must have been when Ponko witnessing Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see a knife at the scene. This means that someone must have ruined the lab before he arrived. Who would have taken the utility knife from the lab? By trusting Athena, I have to clue that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only 2 there. Then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know, this person must have fooled Uncle Rick's That's not right. What's the way their cousin?
Wait a minute, Punko has a heartbeat detection too. Even if they cover their own face, Punko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't be able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it? The Cobra must have covered their face and posed with... The Cobra posed as a victim. That would explain why Punko thought only she and Tina were there. All they had to do is take advantage of Punko's basic requisition features. Cobra used his order to pose as a victim. Cobra would have posed as a victim by wearing her jacket with the IT guy on it. This released the heartbeat detection. How did the Cobra get around that? It would have worked if Punko had checked the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. Does that mean the real Dr. Sykes was already dead at the time? That's okay. Who did Athena stab? That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let's bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Mr. Honor, so that we can move on from hostage negotiations.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Scarabajor. I hereby...
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. And now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. Punko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Punko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother.
What do you say, Mr. Wright?
The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes.
What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there is no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous claim for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this small of mine means I have absolute competence? You make all that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Cause a strange malfunction. Mr. Taryn, you look pale. Shall I help you in the sick bay? Mr. Taryn? Well, that's Apollo you're talking to. All this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. There's another case of mistaken identity caused by the jacket IT tag. Well, because Clonzo couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to the eye patch. Like Mr. Extra said, a mask could nullify its robot's facial recognition. And then, all the person would have to do is wear a jacket that the victim's IT tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would that silly disguise like that too?
Have you forgotten that the robot house has a heartbeat detection system?
If there's a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them.
I'm sorry, Mr. Treasure, that doesn't count as much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart has already stopped beating.
What? So does that mean...
Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed was third person who's posing as Dr. Sykes. Is her mother's real killer.
But that's... impossible!
Mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask. Yes. I remember a... Ah! Athena, what is it? Ah! I remember a man with a mask. could he? What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Sykes, are you alright?
No!
The black cyclops. Breaking.
It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered.
They're gone. The black cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day.
I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... Ugh. Ugh.
It's alright. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena.
She was on the floor by the workbench with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face. I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
A man?
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena.
He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... He dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again.
And this time you got him, did you?
Did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her.
So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant is just giving us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who's covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. The man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that?
Yes, a mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall in the lab.
Oh, the mask hanging there on the wall.
It's kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom.
A phantom? It would seem. But the new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has...
You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict.
Miss Blackwell. This is not good.
A new suspect? Where's the proof of this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't just a dream of little princess' groggy little head?
He's right. We don't have any hard evidence. This man's insistence.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother.
Athena, so glad for you.
More and more memories are coming back now. Well, I'd like to say one more thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. to recharge.
I went to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. on my regular recharge. Just when I thought to charge up, Athena came up and hugged Mommy's side. And then Mommy made it small down. But I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise. Right. He must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. When we rerun the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene.
Very well then. Let's take a look.
There, please stop it right here.
It's just as you said. There is a man leaving the scene of the crime.
Miss Sykes, do you remember this person?
That's him. I'm sure of it.
He's wearing my mother's jacket. I did. I really wanted to see it was her jacket.
The jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes?
Can you see it? There's a slash I made with the utility knife that day. I'm sure that knife is under the jacket somewhere.
So then, everything Miss Sykes said.
Exactly, it proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab around before 2 p.m. Killed her and hit her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself as Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. Culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko would charge up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab and break out the recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, Culprit tricked Ponko into thinking it was Dr. Sykes, therefore making it look like he was alive. She was alive until up at the later time. All this disguised the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in the video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket confirms beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who hit the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how did it possibly have wound up back in the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing a jacket, how did it get back to the lab? The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make it escape, but in order to conceal the fact that he had to get the jacket back in the crime scene, so the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except it would have been impossible. The only person who came up to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body, and they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So when he reported this mysterious matter, he also had a chance to return the jacket.
A puzzling question indeed.
When did the killer have the chance to bring the jacket back? The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found.
Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument?
I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. Culprit could have been taking advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body.
I would never have thought of that. Order of the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth?
The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe captured by preparation of the HAL-1 launch. One of the people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it to get the reports on these 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If the person felt the need to hide his face with a theater mask, It might mean his facial data was once registered.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean...
I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyways.
Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding?
Is it true, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent.
Your Honor, I see no reason to further prolong the trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right, I'm the one who's supposed to say we see no further prolong.
Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. The little princess was truly beloved by Metis and repaid by love with death. All these years hitting Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell. No one like you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that... Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I feel about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted.
And what did you want from her?
Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aura, there's something I wanted to say if you will lend me a year. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is. You do? Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom 7 years past. That's right. A Phantom. President Blackwell was looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hatworm launch. A spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background and parents. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, he was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him.
Oh, how exciting! What was the lead?
A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor to proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Laura's co-worker was a scientist who can analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And the scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, a spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' results of the recording were surely among his targets. But his search for the space station bore no fruit, so he must have started a panic.
He couldn't find them? But where could they have been?
Who is to say? Wow, I bet he never let that out of his sight all these years.
How in the world did you smuggle them into prison?
Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute a case to attract the bandits' attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my target. What about the results Dr. Sykes threw up at you? Was it any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left from my mentor. I will. I better hold on to this real tight. Psychological profile classified. Emotion output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to be unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh? The spy who experienced no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and what ails us is all set in motion. The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for one who has brought darkness into our world.
Well then.
It seems a faint image of this man is starting to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand out my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end. Whatever. Do what you want. You hear no objections from me? Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over.
Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take a stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor? Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. You? Apollo.
Apollo!
What is the meaning of this?
Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Wedgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, you can't allow this trial to end just yet. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us?
Boo boy. As much as I would love to keep going, unfortunately this next part's really long, so that will have to wait till next stream. But for now, this is Robin Phoenix signing off. Peace.